Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Royal Sussex Live. Welcome, one and all. Thank you so much for being here. I hope everyone can hear me okay. Let's see. Mary H., thank you so much for being here first. Hello to Helen Marmon, Susie. Um, is it Anna Boyd? Emma D. Gwendolyn Daniels is here. Thank you very much. V. Morgan, Sean Jones, Amelia Rodriguez, Joya Moore. Okay, I hope I didn't miss anybody. Okay. Oh, Tara Lovett, thank you for being here. All right, let's get on with it, shall we? All right, I'm going to make me disappear. There we go. Oh, you know what? Lord, I forgot to upload that. Um, hmm. Yes, I did. I forgot to upload that. Wow, that is stunning. Okay, I better grab it then. Hmm. Otherwise, this gets very awkward very fast. Man, I can't forget. I can't believe I forgot to do that. That one thing I need very early on. And okay, disaster averted. Okay, and it's Meghan, Archie, Lily, Harry. Favorite flavor. Okay, that should make it easy enough for me to find it. I'll do my best. Anyway, take a look here. You can see this. I had this and I forgot to share it with you on the anniversary day. But yeah, if Meghan was a cartoon character, I think that would be absolutely perfect for the Disney version of Meghan and Harry's story. Don't you think? That would be perfect for the Disney version. I don't know if that was AI or if someone used their artistic skills to render this image, but it is one of my favorites. Okay. And then on to this. Kaboom! The kaboom. Now, I was going to go on last night, but it was so late by the time I finished with my prepping that I decided, well, just save it for tomorrow. So here we are. And so that's what I did. And I'm going to give you the new update for the Kaboom because this is 24 hours old. Now, where I left off with Kaboom was $16,122.65. Let's find the new total, shall we? Okay, the new total for the fundraiser, the Archie Lily birthday fundraiser is okay. I'm stalling because now I can't find it. Oh, come on. This ought to be everywhere. Oh, is that it? Ah, yes. Oh, okay. So it is $16,172.65. Now the goal is 20,000, and so far there have been 338 gifts to the fundraisers so far. That includes a donation from Royal Sussex. So if you have not made a donation, let me get the link for you. And there you go. Oh, thanks, Church Nelly. I did not realize you had put that up there. So why don't we take yours and pin it to the chat? Okay. Okay, done. So there you can see pinned to the chat is the link to Kaboom. We're almost there, just 4,000, little less than $4,000 is needed. Let me see if I can do that math in my head. How bad could it be? So we need to raise 3,000. Wait, 3,000. Don't nobody help me. 3,000. I'm doing this in my head. Um, 3,000. Well, we need to raise almost four. You know what I mean? We need to raise almost $4,000. Oh, wait, I could do this in my head. So we need to raise 3,800 and 3,800 and ooh, that's where I get lost. So 22 minus 100 minus 22 is 78. Okay, so we need to raise 3,000 $78 and 35 cents, or is it $77.35? Somebody check my math, would you? That's how we get to that goal. Oh, you know what? I'm looking at the wrong thing. I'm supposed to be looking at the one for today. You know what? Never mind. Never mind. Because I forgot what I said today's was. Okay. Well, we need some more money. How's that? We need some more money for the kaboom. So reach inside of your what do you call it? Your over the shoulder boulder holder and get some money for kaboom. Reach inside that safe deposit box and send kaboom some money. It's the only way to ensure that the children will have someplace safe to play. Speaking of the children, let me see. Well, that's a little bit out of order, but I'll just skip to that one. There you go. Now, don't you want to help those fictitious children? That rainbow coalition of children that just want a safe place to play? I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauties they possess inside. Give them a sense of pride to make it easier Let the children's laughter remind us how it used to be. Everybody searching for a hero. People need someone to look up to. I never found anyone who fulfilled my needs. A lonely place to be. So I learned to depend on me. Okay. Until you all put some money in Kaboom, I'm going to keep singing. I just. uh, anyway, those kids are counting on your money. So give them the money. Let me see. Where do we leave off? And of course, our Duchess in her garden with those beautiful raised flower beds that you see there. Isn't that gorgeous? You know, I was doing that just earlier today, wearing my favorite white pants, my cardigan tied around, a nice long sleeve top, sniffing flowers. Although I didn't part my hair like that, but I was just, don't everybody do that on a Sunday? I know I do. Yep, I was doing just that. Of course, some gardens are smaller than others. Um, some people have those beautiful white roses or whatever those are. And some people have those petunias that come 12 for, was it $3 or something like that? Anyways, um, live and let live. Really? What kind? We're not talking dandelions, huh? You know, I believe they say you can eat dandelion salad. Is it just the leaves that you want to eat? I'm sure you don't want to eat the blossom, do you? I mean the is it the bloom or the blossom? Anyway, I'm sure you don't want to eat the actual flower itself. But I know I've heard of people eating dandelion salad. Okay. Uh this was what Meghan posted earlier as I search for the video. Favorite. Okay, here goes.
Everyone in my family has a different favorite. My husband loves the raspberry, Lily loves the strawberry. Our twins both, and I like the marmalade.
That was it. That was it. Blink and you'll miss it. So everyone has their favorites. The raspberry, the orange marmalade. You know, if I'm speaking for the group, I'm going to say, dearest Megan, we are all waiting for the apricot to come back. Do you hear me? The apricot. The apricot spread is magnificent. I, I, I thought raspberry was going to be the one, but I'm telling you, it's all about the apricot. Now, one of the squatties was nice enough to send me an apricot spread, and thank you so much for that. I have been savoring the experience. All right, so let's get back over here. It says, inspired by the jams Meghan has created in her own kitchen and shared over years, I'm sorry, over the years. Each spread reflects a small batch, carefully balanced approach to flavor, bright and fruit forward, with just a hint of tartness and whisper, a whisper of limon. Is French limon, just a whisper of lemon. These spreads are crafted to highlight each fruit's natural essence without overpowering it. Shop the fruit spread trio at the link in the bio. So if you go to the Instagram, you can go to the link in the bio and you can shop for those, or you can just go to asever.com and you will find all of Megan's pantry ready products. Okay. All right. Okay. We discussed those. Cheering. Now, I was not aware of this, but did you know that Stephen Colbert helped to raise a total of $2,497,144.15? I didn't even know that Chef Andreas had ever been on his show. So this came as a surprise to me, but um, I'm not surprised. I don't know if you guys had a chance to see it, but Stephen Colbert um, surprised everyone by going back to a cable access channel, a local channel, I believe it's in Monroe, Michigan, and a local cable access channel, and put on the most brilliant talk show. Jeff Daniels was a guest, a former Miss America who lives in Monroe, and her companion. Both of them are nurses, and they had an interesting story to tell. Also, they had a guest DJ and an assistant, a very sassy assistant that helped out, and some volunteers that worked the cameras. But believe me, it was every bit a local community college access, cable access television show. Or maybe it wasn't a community college, but it was a cable access show. And this was a job that Stephen Colbert had, I guess 12 years ago, while he was struggling to, uh, find his own place on television. And well, it was interesting. I mean, nobody knew it was coming. It was not advertised, and just by chance, if someone posted the show on social media, well, then that's how you found out about it. So I thought it was very clever that he did that, because it was a way to show humility by going back to his roots. A lot of people have started their careers on cable access. I think Stephen Colbert, after or during university, he did improv theater in Chicago and stand up comedian and other things. But he is one of the most talented people ever to host a late night talk show. So I hope him every success. I don't know what he's going to do in the future, but that was a really cool surprise if anybody had a chance to see it. Now, royal dependency, nobody wanted to discuss. A royal dependency, nobody wanted to discuss. Harry exit may have exposed how heavily William once relied on his younger brother. So, DB says, the royal dependency nobody wanted to discuss, Prince Harry's departure, exposed a deeper institutional vulnerability that the monarchy may have spent years depending on a figure it simultaneously underestimated, diminished, and ultimately failed to protect. Which may explain why years after his departure, the institution still appears unable to fully recover the the balance it once took for granted. The irony is that the institutions rarely recognize the true value of their emotional architecture until the person carrying it walks away. And that's exactly what happened. They would not, they just could not bring themselves to give Harry more credit for the things that he has done, more support for the things that he wanted to do. Also, they refuse to give that full blanketed support to his wife. And this idea that it must be painful, that one must go through some type of college hazing just to establish yourself within the institution is just wrong. It's just wrong. And for anyone, I don't care what side of the Atlantic you're on, if you are a royal supporter, if you are a monarchist and you agree with this idea that women marrying into that family should be bullied and humiliated, then you're stupid. You're stupid. And please do not listen to Royal Sussex ever again because you're stupid. You're ignorant. You're a bully and you're ignorant. Anyone who believes that that rite of passage where you have to be humiliated by people who have never had a real job in their lives, I just don't think that those anyone who supports that, they're just not worth my time of day. They really aren't. It's ridiculous. It's 2026. It's 2026. Get with the program. It does not cost you anything to be more supportive to the entire family instead of throwing all of your support behind someone who would otherwise not even be qualified to work at a McDonald's, who couldn't even be a crew chief at McDonald's. William the Bully, arrogant, full of himself, William has been given all of the protection and then some. Harry, who has cultivated relationships with who knows how many public officials, heads of state, military, high ranking military officials all over the world. He is very respected for his contribution. And that stupid earth flop and this housing scheme that William has, they seem to think that this is somehow going to put Harry's efforts to shame. It is not. It is certainly not. And one of those ridiculous people wrote an article for their rag of a paper stating that it's always the Sussexes better look out. They better be careful. They don't know what's coming. It's about to happen. If you want the titles, take them if you can. But if anybody thinks that that is going to prohibit the Sussexes from excelling in everything that they do, they are terribly wrong. Not tonight, William. Bedtime routine is mine. This is the image they want us to believe. Well, aside from William holding that grape juice. By the way, I did not make this image, someone else did. But yeah, just forget William. I don't necessarily support that. But this idea that Kate is up at all hours with some kind of idea about how to maintain this charade of being a child advocate of some sort and this early years nonsense, I think it's a bunch of hooey. I really do think it's a bunch of hooey. Um, Also, just like with the Earth shot, Earth flop, whatever it is, they're trying to maintain that these two have some hard-working agenda other than going to Wimbledon and going to all of these football matches and such. They really don't. They really don't. They are only truly available for what they want to do. And anything else, they're just going through the motions. That is the real Kate right there. Eating chocolate bonbons and watching her favorite shows. That is that's a daily routine for Kate. All this nonsense about school runs. What school runs? It's hard to do a school run when you're at home with your feet up watching the telly. Yes, will the real Kate Middleton please put down that box of chocolates? And of course, there is the Bob the Builder Kate. You guys, I'm not going to show you the video, but I do want you to see how William has pinched his fingers as though he's actually holding the nail while he pounds in the hammer. Honestly, guys, the nail was already hammered into the wooden plank on the wall. It was just a image of him walking up and striking the nail as though he had actually done something. Now, I want you to notice where this real man, look at how he's holding the hammer. That is not the way you wield a hammer. It is not. You're supposed to hold that rubber grippy part down there. You are supposed to let the weight of the hammer do the work. Instead, William was like tap, 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 tap. That's not how it's done. That's not how any of that is done. You are supposed to let the weight of the hammer do the work, but not Willie. Not Willie. It was like a bunch of little baby taps. He doesn't even know how to do that properly. Let's see. Leg says British royal family are only relevant because of Meghan. Finally, had a U.S. audience, and they didn't want a famous, gorgeous, biracial woman, knowing she was the draw. Evil people, evil. Thank you very much, Legs, for the super chat. Now, there's William. That's William in his element. This right here was an inconvenience. This, you know, this over exuberant display, I don't know what to call this. Is it play acting? Is it theater? Is it theater? Is it play acting or just theater? Just some really bad theatrics. I'm not sure what to think of it. How many of these photos and these videos of William whooping it up, does he have this enthusiasm when he's actually supposed to be working? I think not. Let's see. I know Bob the Builder. Now this. And then there's Kate. Kate being praised for taking pre-prepared noodles. I mean, someone else actually made the noodles. All she had to do was fold them. And what was the point of this? When Megan was in the kitchen, the last time Megan was in the kitchen, what was the point of that? To feed people. When Megan was in the kitchen before that, what was the point? To feed people. Kate goes to kitchens to play act. It's all a big game for her. And by the way, do you all remember how they made a big fuss about how Megan wore that navy blue dress with the buttons that she wore to greet the children at the hospital in Australia? She didn't have time to change, but she used good hygiene by putting on an apron when she served food. Kate is just in her bare street clothes, probably didn't wash her hands, and is playing with the food as though there are not hungry people in this world. It's all a big game and a big joke to her. All of the fake laughing or what appears to be a very over medicated, overstimulated mid a woman in her mid 40s, allegedly. Um, it's the worst possible play acting. There is nothing so funny and so thrilling about making pasta. I don't get it. I don't get it. It's something that was put together by the team at Kensington Palace. This is why a royal tour with Harry and Meghan is far more substantive than these ridiculous displays by Kate Middleton and Willie Leaks. They're not doing anything but putting a feather in their own cap. They're not helping anyone. You see there? When Harry and Meghan travel out of the country, or if they meet with someone domestically, either way, it's all about business. It is all about helping people. When they're giving a speech, they are at a podium trying to improve the lot in life for people who have no voice or have no resources or both. The African parks, no matter how controversial things have been for the African parks, do you see Harry withdrawing his name or cowering away from them, trying to pretend like he doesn't know anything about it? No, he is fulfilling his obligation for the land that he's always loved, for the people that he has felt the closest to. And as he said, if it was up to him, I would just be a park ranger. But of course, we know that's not possible for him to have a family and to live life as a park ranger, especially without the constant royal protection that he had before. It would be impractical. However, that does not stop him from giving as much support and also allowing his name to be a part of the awareness. That is very generous, especially when you consider how many people have tried to blame him for things that he had nothing to do with or telling him to withdraw his support because of a few bad actors. Withdraw his support. The African parks actually support people that are there to help maintain the parks, not just for now, but well into the future. And as for the No Child Lost to Social Media, the Names Project, or the Lost Screen Project. Well, we've gone over that a lot very recently, so I won't go on and on about that. But this is what real service looks like. Not whipping pasta all around the world, not going to these silly sport matches and showing people that you don't even know how to wield a hammer. It's just silly. See, silly, real work. That's real work. Meghan sitting next to the director general of the World Health Organization. And their mission is to save the young people from online harm. Is it so weird to see people put their time behind Harry and Meghan instead of royals they pay for that are committing crimes with no accountability? Okay. Let me see here. Gwendolyn Daniels said, oh, that's for Church Nelly. Okay, I'll leave that alone. Okay. All right, moving on. And that is real work. A round table where people can actually understand what is being said. They can actually understand. Nobody has to lean in. They don't have to use subtitles. It does not require an interpreter. It is just understood. Meghan is very accomplished, very capable. When Meghan went to university, yes, she studied acting or theater, but she also studied international relations. Knowing that, I mean, just think about it. In order to build up her resume, she became a public figure because of her acting career. And then later on, it was always going to be a life of service. Meghan has been doing service since she was a child, when she was protesting the war in Iraq, when she was protesting about the detergent or whatever. She's always been very politically aware, always had a life of service. This is a continuation. Let's see, Leg says, I can't tell what they hate more, if she is a U.S. citizen with opinions or that she is biracial. Brand Britain is broken. They don't like Black U.S. people. Thank you, Legs, for that comment. Let's see. We don't have a monarchy in the U.S. We don't have to give deference to anyone. It is why they want us to see Bond and Harry Potter. They want to feel if they are on top, get over it. Get over it. Although I have to say, it's very important to remember that there is a very vocal minority of people that are still living in the past. But I believe the majority, especially, it's like the further you go north in the UK, especially when you go to Scotland, you'll find that there are some very well balanced people there, and also in Greater London, which is why Sadiq Khan is mayor, is because if you think about the Brexit, let's compare the Brexit people to MAGA. The majority of the people north of Hadrian's Wall And of course, in the big city centers, they wanted to stay with the European Union and also Greater London. Unfortunately, there were a majority of people who didn't even know what they were voting for, but they knew that it was something that would prevent um, immigration, that would put people out of that, that would deport people out of the country. And they even understood that this would continue to rob a lot of people, including the Windrush people, of their benefits by pretending as though they do not have citizenship. That was one of the most diabolical things. But I don't believe the majority of people support that. I think it is a very um, vocal, very politically active minority of people who believe that they speak for the majority of people. It's unfortunate, but a lot of people didn't even vote for the referendum. The people who felt strongly about leaving outnumbered those who wanted to stay. I guess people did not think that it would happen, but it did. It did. So, anyway, cannot put that genie back in the bottle. And I hope that this will be a life lesson to those who have been very passive, that they have to get out and vote their conscience. Otherwise, you're going to let those, that very Brexit like, MAGA like group of people, you're going to just concede the country to them. And it doesn't have to be that way. So make your voices heard. Let's see. Let's see. I am not trying to be xenophobic against the UK. However, it has a lot of problems that they don't want people to see. The classism is horrendous. They want movies like Harry Potter, not Billy Elliot. Well, there's that notion of British exceptionalism that a lot of, especially the older folks, still believe in it. This is why there's so much pride with the monarchy, because it's something that sets them apart, and they really do believe that on the global stage, on the world stage, that there are people that are so fascinated with the spectacle. It is a curiosity. The monarchy is a curiosity. But I don't think most people, if they knew the actual cost of the monarchy in comparison to the amount of work, if people knew, like this, get this. Well, the arrangement is they stay out of politics, they do their charity work, and we leave them alone and enrich them to about £500 million a year. We'll spend £500 million a year on them, long as they stay out of politics, as long as they do their charity work. There are people that are more capable of raising money than the royals. As we all know, after a very long study, it has been proven that the royals, on average, have little or no impact on how much money is brought in by a charity. Very little impact. And as I said yesterday, the support for the monarchy is trending downward, not upward, but is on a downward spiral. It just is. Where is that graph? And I get I don't like begrudge people for having pride in the monarchy. But I just don't think people know the real cost of it. I don't think the people understand that they're not getting what they pay for. Let's see, where is that at? Um, oh, maybe it wasn't yesterday. Let me see. Or is that today? Oh, you know what? It's coming up. It's coming up. All right. I thought it was, well, I didn't do a show yesterday, did I? All right. I'm getting ahead of myself. But no, Legs, you're okay. I get what you're saying. And you're entitled to your opinion. You're entitled to your opinion. But I guess it's just the way I am. I believe that the majority of people do not subscribe to um that that type of thing. It's just the it's like with those people that watch Fox News, they are more likely to vote out of anger, and there are some people that are more likely to not vote out of frustration. And sometimes the anger crowd outnumber the frustration. And also not just anger but fear. The people that are afraid. Sometimes they just outnumber what I would like to call real voters. Now, Brer Rabbit, that buck-toothed fool that followed Meghan to Geneva, Switzerland. He has still been going to these various what do you call it, panels and such, spewing out all of this nonsense about where Meghan's role is headed when it comes to humanitarian work. Because there was not this huge crowd in Switzerland, Meghan only said that she was going 2 days before she left. 2 days before she left, it was announced that she would be there. Also, this was a forum in which people did not know whether or not they were invited, let alone whether it was indoor, outdoor, ticketed or not. There was no promise that Meghan was going to appear in the middle of a public square. And on top of that, Meghan doesn't have to prove anything to anyone. I don't think that the point of what the Sussexes are doing is about who's got the biggest crowd, how many people came out. Yeah, how many people with advance notice were, what do you call it, corralled like cattle, handed British flags, putting up these barriers and trying to block the pavement in the most busy tourist area of a given city. That's not what this is. This is outside of the World Health Organization. This is outside of a government body or a international body. This is not Times Square. So you're not going to get a Times Square crowd. This is not the filming of some television show where you have people waiting to see them film God knows what. It was never supposed to be that. And see, what they're trying to do is they're trying to undermine our confidence in what the Sussexes have achieved and what they will achieve. They want to try to embarrass them, trying to prevent people from supporting them. And it just doesn't work. These government officials, all of them posted on their social media, had dinner with Meghan, had a chance to meet the Duchess of Sussex, so on and so on and so on. But there were no promises in advance. There was no announcement in advance of that 2 days. And then I don't think it was a very public thing. I don't think it was meant to be. Yes, and those are the people who needed to be there. Those are the only people that really needed to be there. Those people, the families and the public officials who could help put forward whatever type of legislation, whatever type of support, governmental support necessary to prevent disaster with the social media. That's who needed to be there. I'm sure. I'm sure. You know, um, as you know how they used to say, "Oh, I'm sure Harry and Meghan have their Netflix cameras." You know, we don't hear anything else about Netflix cameras. And the reason we don't is because William and Kate can't do anything without a camera crew these days. The more time goes by, the more we notice that Will and Kate have cameras for everything they do. And it's almost non-existent, the talk of, "Oh, I bet they have the next camera. I bet they're recording something." You don't hear that anymore. I wonder why. I wonder why. So Megan received a vest from the World Health Organization as a symbolic gift to Megan, the same type of vest that the members of the World Health Organization use when they go into areas where there is a risk of infection or um, disease or whatever the case. That is what the people use on the ground. Kate receives a flag, a tricolor flag from I guess it was the mayor of whatever town she went to, Reggio or whatever. It's nice. It's nice. I mean, it's a nice gift to have. But, there's no utilitarian value to it. I'm pretty sure Kate left it on the plane on the way home. But it's nice. It's nice she got it. But look at the difference between these two images. A very well engaged royal who understands the issues at hand compared to someone who just pays lip service, someone who has a staff that prepares everything and she can barely keep up with the choreography. The difference is like night and day. A very strongly worded speech. Meghan gave a speech. She had addressed the families and the ministers and secretaries of various health departments or health ministries from around the world. In comparison, I mean, it's like this, as one of the squatties shared, "I serve myself." That's William's motto. Whereas Harry's is, "I serve the world." I continue, it should say, "I continue to serve the world." That's the difference. And of course, Henry VIII says, Harry proves that royal men don't have to uh, buy difficult. I mean, that by default, that is, cheat on their wives, and it drives those who remain crazy. Well, what Henry VIII is saying is exactly what you're seeing, is that there are some members of the family who have been documented. Like, for instance, I don't know that William was cheating. I have to say it's been alleged, but he was photographed in the company of women while Kate stayed at the hotel when they went skiing back, I think it was 2017, instead of going to Troop in the Colors. No, Commonwealth Day. Also, there was some blonde that was photographed with William when he wasn't with Kate and when he wasn't at the um, Commonwealth Day. And then as for Mike Tyndall, I don't need to add anything to it. We've already seen how he operates. Again, this is no declaration that they have ever cheated. But I will say it don't look good for him either. Tone it down a bit. You don't look at a professional baseball player like that with the prince right by your side. You guys, I'm not going to share that video with you. It is disgusting. They made the video slow motion, right? And then they zoomed in very close to Meghan's face to make it appear as though she's given this baseball player the once over, right? What you don't see in that carefully cropped image is that he was holding a shopping bag of some sort when he walked up. And of course, Meghan looks down at the bag and then looks back up to his face. This was right after they received gifts from the other baseball team. This was the exhibition game with the uh, New York Yankees and whatever. What team was that? The Boston Red Sox or whatever, when they had an exhibition game over in the UK. And Harry and Meghan, of course, the American princess, went to visit with them. She found out the one guy said, according to his ancestry, that Meghan is his cousin. That was the Boston team, I think it was. Anyway, I'm going to show you the video. But it was disgusting. And of course, when I saw it, I shared the actual footage with the person or persons who put that crap out there and told them how disgusting I think they were for doing that.
Yeah, always.
We want to congratulate you on the birth of your child and also present you with what we thought was a pretty cool.
Now, let me slow this down for you. They put it in slow motion and they cropped it so you could not see the bag. And then it made it seem like Meghan was taking this smoldering long look at this guy who just walked up. And of course, furthermore, look at this. It was a t-shirt for Archie. It was just disgusting. I saw that Meghan's name was trending and I was wondering what it was about. And that's what I saw was a slow motion video with a carefully cropped image to try to make it seem like Meghan was drooling over this player. Nothing of the sort.
Yeah, always.
At real speed, She looked him in the eye first. As he raises up the bag, she looks down at the bag. Again, this was the second jersey they received. And then, even worse, there were some people that was saying that Harry was biting his lip and staring at this player. Like Harry's got the hots for him too. I'm like, these people are sick. Sick. They're just sick. Now, you've seen the real time footage, not cropped, not slow motion, but exactly as it happened. A whole world of difference between that and slowing down the footage and zooming in to try to make it look like, why is it they have to over sexualize Black women? Why is that? They have been doing this for the longest, trying to make it seem like Meghan is one of those type of workers, trying to imply that Meghan spent her days on yachts rather than working a full-time job. For one, I'm tired of it. I'm just tired of it. It was the Middleton sisters that were throwing themselves at people. It was the Middleton sisters that were the social climbers. It was the Middletons that spent their youth trying to marry into rich families. Meghan entered the royal family as an accomplished actress with wealth of her own, with job marketable skills, with everything from calligraphy to retail to obviously a successful actor. And of course, an entrepreneur. She has not deviated. She has demonstrated she knows how to earn money for herself, not just marry into a rich family. So while they're trying to humiliate Meghan and trying to over sexualize her image, they are trying to elevate the other one. They're trying to put a halo over her head. I'm tired of it. And I still cannot get over this. Now, you guys, I saw the put down video, right? This one right here, where it was all about Meghan this, Meghan that, Harry this, Harry that. I saw that. And then later on, the other one pops up on the Twitter, X formerly known as Twitter, where they were speaking of William and Kate in these glowing terms, and that sour face or faces that you see there, it was the polar opposite. Oh, they were smiling and laughing and so jovial. This is all theater, you guys. This is all theater. Where they grunt and moan and sigh repeatedly to demonstrate how disgusted they are. Now, just for kicks, I'm going to share something with you. I am going into the trenches. I'm going into the trenches. What day is this? Oh, this was 10 days ago. Oh, okay. Hold on a second. I'm going to go into the trenches just so that I can share the opposite thing with you. Give me just a second. Oh, mercy. Mm-mm-mm. Mm. Is that right? What day was that one? Okay, Brer Rabbit. Oh, is that it? Oh, you know what? It might not even be worth it. It may not be worth it. Yeah, I think I'm going to skip this one. Um, I mean, these people look like they're on a lynch mob. They really do. It looks like a lynch mob. Oh, okay. Yes, this is it. This is it. Oh no. Oh, you guys, please just be patient with me here for a second. Okay, okay. Let me show you this. Let me show you this. It is quite obvious. Let me just verify this. Okay, okay. I'm going to share this with you. So they went from those faces, but when it was something more agreeable, something that wasn't to do with Harry and Meghan, let me show you this. You see what I mean? It's almost like it's a whole different set of people. So here you got, oh, oh, two. Woo! It's just, it's unbelievable. It is unbelievable. They put on this face, this feeling of dread. Meanwhile, they're making sure that they get that deposit into their account in due time. Oh, it's just disgusting, you guys. It's just disgusting. It's almost as though you don't even think they're capable of smiling. That's it. I just wanted to share that. That's it. That they actually can force a smile. Actually, not force. It's not even forced. They just smile. When it doesn't have to do with the Sussexes, then all of a sudden everything is just completely jovial and agreeable. And of course, they do the same thing for that other royal that supposedly had his titles taken away, but we know he has not. Will King Charles' monarchy survive? What the data really shows. Will the monarchy survive? Well, according to Newsweek, this is Jack Royston. King Charles III has been under pressure in recent years, including stemming from the scandals surrounding Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor's relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, prompting renewed debate about whether it could ultimately contribute to calls for Britain to abolish the monarchy. Mountbatten-Windsor is being investigated by uh, the Thames Valley Police on suspicion of misconduct in public office following reports. Anyway, we know about all that. In that context, debate around whether the British monarchy has a future has been on the increase through the discussion that is longstanding, with royal popularity rising and falling over decades. Now, look at there. That's not a real graph, but I just love that picture. Why it matters. Supporters of abolition of I'm sorry, abolition. Yeah, of abolition often point to declining popularity, while royalists argue past crises, such as the aftermath of Princess Diana's death, were followed by recoveries, including the surge around Prince William and Kate's wedding. They say the same may happen again when a new generation of royals, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis, take the spotlight. Newsweek has plotted the trend in public attitudes toward the monarchy over 41 years, which is what you see there. A 41-year period seeking to look past the transient highs that is, and lows associated with specific royal moments to paint a more reliable long-term picture of the likelihood that Britain might abolish the crown. What the data says about support for abolition. Well, as you can see, important, very, and quite important. Well, those numbers are on the decline. And not important, those numbers are increasing. You got more people over time saying that they're just not so important. Look at the very important. That's the blue line. A downward spiral. Not important, abolish them. The idea of abolishing them by the year 20, let's see, 1990 up to, it looks like they're going to like 2035 before it cuts off. So what is that? 90. Well, let me see. That's 90. I don't know where they're starting with this, but anyway, you can see where people's feelings are. The key data set comes from the long-running British Social Attitude Survey run by the National Center for Social Research, which has been collecting data since they're starting from 1983, meaning that it has detailed breakdown of slings and arrows of royal fortune spanning more than 4 decades. This survey is unusual in that it gives respondents multiple opinions, or that is options, for expressing their opinions on the monarchy beyond a binary decision between abolishing and keeping the crown. I have no idea what that means. Okay, so it says the question was phrased, How important or unimportant do you think it is for Britain to continue to have a monarchy? Optional answers include very, quite, not very, not at all, along with monarchy should be abolished, don't know, and another option for those who refuse to answer. In 1983, 3.1% of British people said they wanted to abolish the monarchy, compared to 15.3% in 2024. The most up to date figures collected 41 years later, that means support for scrapping the crown on average has been increasing by zero point 0.3 percentage points per year. That's like saving up to 50 pounds per person. That's up to a family of four could save up to 200 pounds per family. So up to 50 pounds per person or up to 200 pounds per family. It's just like taking a vacation. In 1983, the figure sat at 64.6%, and by 2024, it had dropped to 24.1%, a slide of more than 40% over 41 years. In fact, the total figure of very and quite interesting slide from 86% to 51%. While the total for not very important, not at all, and abolish the monarchy rose 13 percentage to 46% over that 41-year period. But listen to this, though. The monarchy is underwater, meaning that there's about the same amount of people, around 38%, that believe the monarchy is important. Not on this poll, but in other polls, that their support has been as low as 38%. You know who else has support like that? Donald Trump. That's why I told you there is a outspoken minority of people that would have you believe that the majority of people feel a certain way. It's just that the majority is not as vocal because they're not frightened of brown people, black people. They're not frightened by immigration. Those things do not frighten them. They're not afraid of the changing demographics. But for those who are, just like in the United States, there are people who live in constant fear that the United States, by the year 2050, will cease to be a majority white country. Did you guys know that? By 2050. That's why Donald Trump is where he is. Because by 2050, the majority of the country is going to be black, Latino. Anyway, about 51%, at the rate we're going at, about 51% of the people will not identify as white Europeans. And therein lies the panic. Therein lies the panic. And it's the same panic that has overtaken so much of Europe. There was no concern about the panic in places like Africa, India, the Americas, when all of a sudden these tall ships appeared on the horizon, and they had things like cannons and guns, and they also had organized religion with Bibles. They didn't worry about that panic. There was no panic over bringing disease to people who could not fight it. There was no panic over pulling all the gold and wealth out of a country. There was no panic about that. But Now we're panicking. We're panicking because of the ever changing demographics. And you know what? I get it. I understand the panic. I understand the panic. You lived in a neighborhood your whole life, and all of a sudden, there's another language. You try to go to that restaurant on the corner, and the menu is in another language. I get it. But creating havoc, starting race wars and such, is not the answer. It is not the answer. But that's where the panic comes from. And the monarchy is emblematic of where people's sentiments are. This is why Harry and Meghan marriage, this is why their marriage at this time has been that much more under scrutiny because of that silent, that very vocal minority of people who are using them in this greater cultural war that we're having. It's just unfortunate timing. It's not to say that these things would not have happened anyway, because that's how the royal family is. It's a very cruel institution. But you could add racism with everything else that happened, and that amplifies this hazing that Meghan has gone through at the hands of the press, people within the institution, and even other members of the royal family, along with all of those people on social media that are just as evil as far as I'm concerned. So, as bad as it may not have been as bad if we weren't in the situation we're in right now. Don't get me wrong. Do not go to the comments and say, yeah, but, yes, it would still be bad. But I'm saying you add to that this culture war that they have been caught in the middle of, and it just makes it that much worse. And here we are. So, those pensioners at some point may be out of a job. They may be out of a job. The ever shrinking British royal family. The ever shrinking British royal family. So they might want to do, I'm a celebrity, get me out of here. So people can get to know them better. Or how about this one right here? Dying monarchy, lack of seasoning. By the way, these were creations from the Sussex squad. Yes, a lack of seasoning. If they would just season their food properly, they might stand a chance. They might stand a chance. Try some paprika, some lemon pepper, some Laurie's seasoning salt, whatever. Try that. Try accent. But as they say, it's not over until the fat lady sings. Well, the fat lady is belting out a tune right now. Losing Meghan, Prince Harry, and potentially billions of pounds, according to an article back in January the 9th of 2020. There was much speculation about what exactly the royal family was going to lose because of Harry and Meghan's exit from the fold. So it says here, the wedding of Prince Harry and Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, in May of 2018, watched by a television audience of almost 2 billion viewers, almost 2 billion viewers, was heralded by many as the ultimate 21st century fairy tale. It was hoped that the union of a beautiful biracial American actress and one of the world's most favorite princes would firmly nudge the British royal family into a new era. That was the hope. It was also hoped that somewhat less romantically that the potential star of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex as new celebrity couple became known as they had become known would be an economic windfall Britain that is potentially bringing billions of pounds to the economy for decades to come. Just 18 months later, the couple announced via Instagram that they would be stepping down as senior royals, splitting their time between Britain and North America and working toward becoming financially independent. Not privacy, financially independent. Just how much of a loss for Britain? It's a monarchy, and the businesses could have the new arrangement represent. Just how much have they lost? Well, the short answer is that it is rather hard to say, given no one yet knows exactly the terms of the exit. David Hyde, chief executive of brand valuation consultancy Brand Finance, the company calculated that the wedding of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex generated $1 billion for the British economy. Let me say that again. You ready? The company calculated that the wedding of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex generated £1 billion for the British economy in 2018, including an additional 300 million in travel and accommodation spent by foreign tourists and 50 million pounds spent on merchandise such as coins, dishcloths, and clothing, not to mention those billions of clicks and free media coverage that enhance the value of brand Britain. And in the months since the wedding, patronage by the Sussexes has continued to generate hefty revenue for retail and leisure industry in particular. For British household names such as Marks and Spencer and John Lewis, and through charitable projects like the Duchess's fashion workwear collaboration with SmartWorks. A new half in, half out of the firm arrangement would not necessarily put a stop to those earnings and endorsements for Britain and its businesses. If anything, extensive ambassadorial work at home and abroad could even increase them. But it all depends on the nature of the long term relationship with Buckingham Palace and what, with the creation of the Sussex royal brand, the couple plan to control themselves when it comes to their cultural and commercial influence. Harry and Meghan say they want to be involved in Commonwealth activities, patronages, and support the Queen, which suggests retaining some form of official royal role and duties. Mr. Hyde said the Sussexes unveiling of what they termed as their website, unveiling that is, of their website, the new working model. That's what they're calling it, or called it, the new working model. But they also want to earn their own money and partly live in North America. So in other words, do whatever the hell they like, no matter what has been invested in them by others, he said. Those outside investments include security at their wedding, which was paid for by the British taxpayers at a cost of 30 million pounds. The church service, flowers, receptions were paid for by the royal family, and 2.4 million to renovate the Duke and Duchess's official residence, Frogmore in Windsor. And don't forget, Harry gave that money back. Harry gave them 3 million US dollars, more than enough to cover the renovation, which they should not have paid for. That really wasn't for them to pay for, but that was the final FU on the way out. Anyway, um, until now, 5% of the couple's official expenses were paid by the sovereign grant. An annual lump sum from the British government and the public funding the couple say they now plan to relinquish. Done. However, they also said via the Sussex Royal website that they hope to continue receiving money from Harry's father, Prince Charles, who funds the remaining 95% of the couple's personal and professional expenses through the private estate, the Duchy of Cornwall, which he possesses by right of being the Queen's heir as of 2018. Prince Harry and his brother William, the Duke of Cambridge, and their wives received 4.9 million pounds from Prince Charles and the Duchy. This contributed to Prince Harry's fortune, believed to be around 30 million pounds. Meghan's net worth before marrying Harry was estimated at 3.5 million pounds, or about 5 million US dollars. Okay, it's only a little bit left of this article, so I'm going to go ahead and finish it. Whether Prince Charles will reconsider that support, which of course we know he never did. There was no reconsidering of it. He just cut them off. Anyway, whether or not Charles will reconsider that support remains to be seen. At a time when there has been greater scrutiny around the degree of public spending on the royals who qualify for police protection, Harry and Meghan also noted on their site that they will continue to have a publicly funded security detail as they embark on a quest for financial independence. Again, that was taken away. The Duke and Duchess value and ability to earn professional income, which the current structure they are prohibited from doing, said in a statement published by their website. Royal Protocol states that no gifts or funds, including hospitality or services, should be accepted that would or might appear to place the royal family members under any obligation to the donor. But what might these new livelihoods and income stream entails, and will the family have any say? Well, as we know, the royal family has no say on the comings and goings of Harry and Meghan. They have no say about anything, really anything to do with them. Harry, as a courtesy, informs them of certain things, but they're not duty bound or obligated, because why? They cut the money. They have been financially cut off, and they do not receive any royal protection. So they don't really owe them anything. Last June, the Sussexes submitted a trademark application for the Sussex Royal Foundation on more than 100 items, including hoodies, socks, textbooks, and bookmarks. Rather than just selling Sussex swag, and more likely road to greater riches for the former soldier and actress. I need water. Okay, sorry. Could hinge on book deals, speaking engagements, and select brand endorsements. Well, again, let's pause. We know where the Sussexes are today, and none of those things like hoodies, socks, and all that kind of stuff that never happened. Bookmarks, yeah, but that's under the brand as ever. Now it says here, given Meghan's background, social network, and the world she comes from, it wouldn't surprise me if they move in a more familiar direction of celebrity should they get approval from the Queen, said Kenya Hunt, a fashion director of the British magazine Grazia. Fashion would also be a natural arena for Meghan, given her industry relationships on both sides of the Atlantic. This news has been very dramatic. People are shocked. But whatever happens with the palace, there will still be a group of fans who admire her style. That's us, y'all. Whatever the Sussexes choose to do, Mr. High of Brand Finance said he did not expect to hurt the long term clout of the rest of the royal family. And here's the last paragraph. The royal family generates at least 2 billion in annual incremental revenue to the British market from promoting endorsements and royal warrants to bolstering soft power. Kate and William were driving that long before Meghan arrived on the scene. He said, the growth, thanks to the next generation, might be less than what was hoped for after this, but I doubt the cash flow will actually decline. The firm remains too strong an institution. Well, that didn't age very well, did it? Because a lot of those brands that Kate was attached to have collapsed one after the other. They have collapsed. The best way to shut down a company, have Kate wear it. Yeah, have Kate wear it. They'll be out of business in no time. Well, that article aged in a very interesting way. Some of the points they made, I think they were a bit off. Um, and especially the idea that the family brings in that type of revenue. I don't believe it. There is no correlation between the royal family and the amount of revenue that has been generated in terms of tourism. Now, that's very different for a royal wedding. That is very different for a funeral or a coronation. But the biggest wedding in years, actually, the most viewers ever, almost 2 billion people for Harry and Meghan. It's just a fact. Almost 2 billion people. Almost 2 billion people. And that was what, 7, 8 years after Will and Kate? Almost 2 billion people. I think it's 7 years. Well, this squatty says, let me see here. I said it before and I'll say it again. The British royal family fumbled a generational bag, letting go of Prince Harry and Meghan Sussex. Sad for the institution to crumble before our eyes in real time because they refuse to protect one of their own. A shame. It is a shame. Oh, check this out, guys. Zendaya at her niece's graduation, celebrating with family in San Francisco a few days ago. Can you guys see Zendaya? She's all the way over to the left. If you go to the left and count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 at the top row, if you count from the left, 7 over from the left, you can see Zendaya with her head kind of cocked to the side. So, what a very, very modern family. Isn't that something? That's her family. That's her fam. That is what America is going to look like by 2050. Yes, that is America 2050. The United States of America 2050. No wonder people are in such a panic. No wonder some of those Republicans are about to drop a deuce. They cannot stand the thought of it. We are family. Yes, we are family. Now, Queen Elizabeth died on, what was it, the 22nd? No, not the 22nd, the 18th, was it? Of September in 2022? Yeah, I think it was the 18th of September, right? If the Queen died in 2022, how is it Camilla Tominey, Tom Bauer, and Hugo Vickers, how are they having daily conversations with Queen Elizabeth? How is it that the Queen has been saying more post-mortem, that she has been saying more now than she was saying up until 2022? And fortunately, Camilla Tominey, Tom Bowers, and Hugo Vickers are there to catch every word of it. Like, recollections may vary. Signed, Queen Elizabeth. How is that possible? And notice Camilla Tominey's head is bigger than everybody else's in this cartoon. Did you see that? Even here, she got the biggest head of them all. That big, massive melon she calls a head. Huge. Maybe that's why she don't miss anything, because her head is so big that her ears are able to catch every whisper. I mean, her head is so big she can hear from the grave, apparently. Oh, well. 8 years after True Love Lasts Forever, one of the squatties put these two photos side by side, and I decided to share them with you because you know what? Not a lot has changed. They were in love then, they're in love now. And I don't know if you guys know this, but of all people, Lady C warned people to get over this notion that there's going to be a divorce, that Harry and Meghan aren't getting along, that their lives together are falling apart. Lady C said, forget about it, that it's not likely to happen. She said, it's a waste of time. She pretty much let the derangers know you're wasting your time. So if Lady C has any inside information whatsoever, which I don't believe she does, one thing is for sure, even she believes in the long-term love and support and marriage that the Sussexes have. Even she believes in it. So they have not deviated, not in the least bit. And even people who do not care for them have conceded. They don't, that's not even a talking point anymore. I mean, there's a few people that likes to continue with this. Oh, Meghan is controlling Harry. He's unhappy, flood of tears, etc., etc. But even most of them just don't believe that narrative anymore. They are exactly what they appear to be. And you know what? Good for them. Good for them. Now, I came across these. I love what Meghan wore, but this one, what is this one called? I forgot. It's Meghan something. But I like the way they lay out the clothes. I think it's pretty cool. I mean, you can see everything very clearly. It's very easy to view. Um, all of the designers. I mean, there you have Cartier. Um, oh, I can barely see that. Let me take a look here. Vince turtleneck, sleeveless top, etc., etc., etc. Okay, and here, see there. It's Megan Daily official, whatever. Not, of course, Megan, but it's somebody's private page, I think. But yeah, I think it's pretty cool the way they got everything laid out here. Megan's tennis necklace. I tell you what they don't have is the price. You have to click on those links to see the prices. Yep, that they don't have. But yeah, I like that. It's much easier to see everything. And guess what, you guys? I am done. I am done. So if you have any last comments, please add those to the chat right now while I'm paying closer attention. I'll go back and take a look at a few. I wish Prince Harry would let go of the royal protection cause I'm worried about vampiric royal family. Vampiric family would have access to Meghan. I think that's supposed to be plot, right? And you don't trust them. Yeah, I understand. Oh, it was the 8th of September that the Queen died. Thank you very much for that. So the Queen died on the 8th of September. Okay. Health education and proper law enforcement. Um, mm, well, you know, mm, yeah, I don't necessarily buy into that one because let's take it. Uh, when it comes to education, that has been made much worse. Health, well, yeah. Um, I don't necessarily buy that. And violent crime is at an all-time low in comparison to what it was in the 90s. Crime has gone down. The murder rate has declined. So violent crime and the murder rate has declined. But if you are to believe what the media is saying, it's just the opposite. But these are statistics that come from various sources that monitor these things. So it's just like Chicago. If you listen to the media, it's like living in one of the most violent places in the world. But for whatever reason, um, Chicago hosts, I don't know how many people every year that come to visit. And if you look at some of the coverage on social media, you hear all of these glowing reviews. So there is perception. There is perception, which is very strong. The perception is that things have never been worse in this country. Um, and that's why Donald Trump won. But um, there's a lot of media bias, and there are some blue states or Democrat run cities that are the chew toy for the right wing. And being on the ground and being in those states or cities is very different from what you see reported from the media. So, no, um, I don't think there's any upside to Donald Trump. The fleecing of America, the fact that the wealthiest among us are paying the lowest tax rates in history, the lowest tax rates in history. What they're not paying could go a long way to help rebuild this country. They're taking away things from the average working person, and they're giving so much to people who make what, $10,000 a minute, whatever the rate of their income. So yeah, um, that's a tough one there. That is a tough one, but I just don't see it that way. Yeah, it is white grievances. It's the idea that the white man in particular is losing things, right? They have convinced people, especially when Obama was president. Donald Trump spent 5 years telling the world how bad things were in the United States because of Barack Obama. Even though, even though Barack Obama saved the United States from a recession, the Democrats have always been stronger with the economy than the Republicans, as evident by Donald Trump himself saying, I've always made more money with the Democrats than I have with the Republicans, until he ran as a Republican, and then it was the opposite. Okay? Who pulled us out of the Great Depression? A Democrat. So yeah, it's a lot of false narratives out there, and that's just the unfortunate truth. There's a lot of false narratives out there, and people somehow are listening to these repeated lies and taking it as the truth. I see absolutely no value to having Donald Trump president. There were people who voted for Donald Trump, and a friend that was discussing this with me the other day, they said, make sure you vote for Trump because he gave us that money during the pandemic. Actually, the Republicans and Donald Trump was against the stimulus package. It was the Democrats who pushed the stimulus package through. And what happened? For the first time in history, a president put his name on a federal paycheck. That was the first time in history that a president delayed the distribution of financial relief so that he could put his name on it, so that he could take credit and get votes for something he was against. You don't believe me? Look it up. Look it up. Look it up. Search it for yourself. Well, Jessica Foreman, you make a great point. Either 3 million people are completely stupid, because if you say, why are you living there? How could you live there? Either 3 million people are just stupid, or it's not exactly what the media would have you believe it to be. I don't think I'm stupid. There's 10 million people, 10 million people in the Chicagoland area, 3 million people in the city of Chicago. How dumb are we? Please tell me. What am I missing? Are we that ridiculous that we refuse to leave? But that's what people would have you believe, is that it's all carnage. And then when they sent the troops to Chicago, what did they do? They went and took selfies in front of all of the tourist areas. Now, when I say this, I'm not just, blowing smoke. I do mean this. If those people that were sent to the city to patrol the city of Chicago, if they would have stayed at the bus and the train stations and such, if they would have, let's say, walked a woman home late at night to her front door, if they would have done stuff like that, if they would have patrolled areas where there is, very little foot traffic, darkened streets where working class people are trying to get home at night or early in the morning to get to work, if they would patrol those areas and give us more coverage from a police department that's already overstretched, if they'd have done that, I've been like, you know what? I'm glad they're here. But that's not what they were doing. They were menacing and intimidating people and taking selfies. If they want to ride the trains and buses overnight, I'd be all for it. But that's not what they were doing. They were just putting on a show. uh it might take a bit of an effort to find that, so I'll have to try to have that for you tomorrow. Thank you, Mary H. Yeah, if they want people's support, just make it that much safer, because that's where they're needed. I will admit that can be very scary, um, for people overnight, and that's anywhere, any place where you're using public transportation overnight. And by the way, there's only two cities in the United States that have 24-hour bus and rail service. One is New York, and the other is Chicago. And late nights can be scary. So if you want to help us, that's where we need to help. It's hard to justify putting a police officer on a train that has 3 people riding overnight, right? You might have 3 people in one car, 2 people in a. Put them on those trains. That's where they're needed. Connie Bomber. Hey, Connie Bomber. But yeah, if they want to be helpful, that's what they need to do. Don't just take selfies. Patrol. Well, Legs, you have been on fire tonight. We're gonna have to do another what do you call it? Another members only. We're gonna have to do another members only soon. I don't know why people haven't questioned why Southern Republicans led states are worse in education, health, and living. Republicans clearly don't want better for everyone, but just a few. Exactly. The states that are the worst off are the states where people vote against their own best interests. They're so busy trying to make life as inconvenient and impossible for people of color that they vote against their own interests. That's just like the premise of the Black welfare queen. Um, the majority of people that receive government benefits are white people. They're not Black, they're white. A lot of them in those red states. When the coal mine shut down, guess what happens? All of a sudden, everybody in town has a disability. Everybody's collecting a Social Security check. They have all suddenly become disabled. Whole generations of people in these rural towns are suddenly disabled. And they're all on painkillers too. They're disabled and they need painkillers. That is rampant in rural states, in red states. And the mortality rate for white men has climbed like you would not believe because of substance abuse. And yet, statistically per capita, drug use is greater amongst the white population than it is the Black population. You wouldn't know that with all of the statistics and lies that they tell, but it's the truth. Yeah, so many of those statistics that they use to degrade the Black community, if you study the real numbers from the feds, from some very worthy institutions, you'll find out that it's not exactly what they're telling you on Fox News. They don't get in trouble for lying. They don't get in trouble, they get paid. It's a huge difference. Oh well, I I've been around for a while and I have studied politics just as a hobby, and things have changed a great deal. I've seen people come and go, and I usually vote blue for a reason. Okay, folks, I think we're winding it down, so I'm going to say goodnight. Happy, what is it, Memorial Day, right? Is that right? By the way, you guys, this past week, I have been kind of busy. Um, I went to a recital, which meant that I had to take a road trip. I had to drive for hours and that was exhausting. Um, but the recital was fantastic. I mean to tell you, I was so proud of these kids. They played. It was a orchestra, and they a high school orchestra. They played beautifully, and it was awesome. And one of the local bakeries decided to treat everyone for the last recital of the year to the most delicious chocolate chip cookie ever. And then also, as you know, my aunt passed away in what was it, 2024? So we have been clearing her house. And when I tell you, this has been a monumental task settling her house, right? So the house is nearly sold, and I didn't want to um, not help my cousins. So you know what I'm saying? Because it just seemed really important not to leave it all to them because it's been very emotional, and and I think that that actually has brought us closer together. So from the sadness of losing a family member, it actually has helped to bring closer together. So I'm glad for that. But yeah, it's been a task, and fortunately, I was able to bring a sidekick with me, and we got a lot of stuff done. So, um, but here's my advice. Here's my advice for you. If you find yourself in a similar situation and you don't know what's available, bring what you need with you. I brought a dust mask, to wear to avoid the dust. Also, I took a few microfiber towels with me because as you're picking up things, it just makes sense to wipe the dust off of it, right? Or as you're picking through things. Um, Disinfectant wipes, Lysol, rubber gloves. Some of these things have been packed away and on shelves and for years of stuff. And so that was what I did to make it smooth as possible because I'm kind of sensitive to a lot of dust and everything. So I just made sure that I was prepared. I even brought a fan because I don't want to go someplace and get hot. So I brought a fan with me. I brought a fan with me just in case it was one there, but again, caked with dust. I brought my own fan. I'd rather blow my own dust in my face. So I hope this has been helpful. If you find yourself in that situation, take what you need. Don't assume that everything is there for you. And again, if someone has been a bit of a hoarder, be prepared. Dust mask, gloves, um, towels to wipe dust off of things because certain things will remain, certain things will be thrown away, and certain things we are gifting to ourselves. So um, that's why I say just be prepared. Bring garbage bags, boxes, packing material, all that stuff that you think you need. Check with the rest of the family. If nobody brings it, then bring your own. Oh, yes. Thank you, Poliva girl. Thank you very much for that. Okay, May the 1st, 1865. One of the earliest recorded observances was organized by a group of formerly enslaved African Americans. Formerly enslaved African Americans. They exhumed a mass grave of Union prisoners at a local racetrack and gave them a proper burial and held a procession of 10,000 people to dedicate the site. Okay, so that's probably the earliest recorded observance of a Memorial Day. It was by formerly enslaved African Americans who wanted to pay proper respect to Union prisoners at a local racetrack. They were buried in a mass grave. Also, if you're in the Chicago area, remember the Obama Library opens officially, grand opening is Juneteenth, the 19th of June, Juneteenth. Oh, thank you so much, Paula girl. Thank you so much for that. Okay, you guys, I almost forgot to tell you too. Actually, I'm kind of embarrassed. Oh, what the hell? Um, oh no, I can't. It's just okay. My cousins told me, they said, take whatever you want. So, yes, I was helping to pack fragile collectible items and stuff that my cousin wanted from the house. And my other cousin, anyway. So it was myself, my two cousins, and a dear friend of mine. I found an unused, burnt orange colored Le Creuset Dutch oven. Unused. A big roasting oval shaped Dutch oven has never been used. Now, I'm telling you, that house holds everything from old um, Jet magazines, back when they used to call it Negro Digest, um, 45s, 33 and a thirds. I'm telling you, it's 56 years. 56 years of stuff. And sitting there looking just as pretty as the day it was made was a Le Creuset. A Le Creuset Dutch oven. No, it's not a Dutch oven. It's a roasting pan. It's like, it's oval shape. Brand new. Never been used. My aunt was addicted to QVC, among other things, but QVC. If I had to say what her vices were, definitely QVC would be at the top of it. And I don't know if she got it from QVC or what, but it's never been used. It's never been used. So they said, take what you want. I'll take that. Thank you. So now I have two beautiful pieces of La Cruche, a gift from a very dear squatty, and now this one. A La Cruce, unused. God knows how old that thing is. Never been used. I'm like, are you serious? Yeah, serious. Take it. Okay. I'm like, wow, it was meant to be. So thank you, Auntie. I scored a La Crusade. I'm trying to figure out what kind of pan it is. Let me see. It's oval shape. Yeah, it is a Dutch oven, but it's oval shape. At first, I didn't even think it was the real thing until I lifted the lid and looked inside, and that's exactly what it is. I'm like, hey, beautiful, I've been looking for you. Brand new, never been used. Yep, brand new, never been used. And I'm just like, how many years have you been sitting here waiting for me? Anyway, thank you, Auntie. Let's see. Right? Amen to that. Thank you, Madison. Right? Thank you, Auntie. Oh, you guys, it has been a monumental task. It does say one thing to me. You know, I have been kind of stuck because I need to purge some things that I just don't use. I do love to cook, so I will continue to use my other La Crusade, and now I got this one. Um, but then, like anybody else of a certain age, I got so much stuff that I just have not used in years. So I have to really do something because I feel overwhelmed. Okay. Well, you guys, thank you again. Love you guys. I will see you all later today. And I guess it's kind of weird to say happy Memorial Day, but um Memorial Day greetings. Orange. It's orange. Yep, it's orange. And two of my favorite colors, blue and orange. Blue first, orange second. Orange is a color that I've kind of picked up on in the past, I would say 15 years. 15 years I have been gravitating toward orange. Just one day, um, I'd be embarrassed to tell you how that happened. That I'm not going to tell. That one I'm not going to tell. I'll save that story for another time. How I fell in love with orange. But usually I'm just like blue, blue, always blue. And then one day, orange hit me. And I just kind of looked at it and I'm just like, you know what? I'm kind of I'm kind of feeling orange. And so ever since then I have been kind of drawn to orange. It seems to have a certain warmth to it. That's what it is. It seems like a very warm color. Oh, I really haven't ironed out my plans for tomorrow myself. Oh, thank you very much. Cookies and Cream says thanks to all the service men and service women everywhere. Cheers to that. Oh, thank you, Connie Bomber. Anyway, I do feel kind of sad. I'm just like, my aunt never had a chance to use her pan, but she didn't really cook much like she used to. So it'll be up to me. I think what I'm going to do is make a good beef stew. No, oxtails. Yes, that's how you break it in with some oxtails. Okay. All right, guys. For real this time. I want to say good night. All right. Love you guys. See you later today.